Good morning. Good morning. Now, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, and I'd like to tell you how I became the princess of what, East Bel Air. All right, so I just came on here real quick to say good morning, and I know you missed me, and I missed you too. Wake up, because I had I don't know if it was epiphany or nothing. I don't know. But I promise you I won't be taking too long. I won't take too long. Okay. So this is about like reactive abuse and how far people will go to recruit people to do the reactive abuse against you. Like, this is heinous, it's disgusting, but it's true, and it's happened to a lot of people. Okay, so here's how it goes. Now, some people want power over you. They want either monetary power or emotional power over you. And a lot of people get power from you from causing you to act emotionally. And the more emotional and sensitive a person feels you are, the more they'll try to control you. Hold me, right? So, unfortunately, I was in a company of a lot of people that realized that I am a sensitive person, but what they did not realize is there's a reason for my sensitivity. It's a buildup of a lot of unfortunate events that actually hold for it. And certain individuals, it will rewire their brains to become desensitized and toxic, which means that when you get rewired, you're not only acceptable to the toxic environment, you are encouraged by the toxic environment, so you no longer can function in a healthy environment. And the more toxicity, the more gas, I should say, it gives you, which means that it gives you enough gas to actually run up on people and do all sorts of things to you, i.e. spread rumors, accuse people of being 304s, spreading STDs without accountability, and lying to people about who you gave it to and where you were and where you got it from, and if you were the original carrier, and joining groups that do not like you but will accept you or tolerate you based on what you can and cannot do for them. Now, when you run into groups like that, those people will sacrifice you for clout, emotional support, although it's temporary, and or instant gratification, be it monetary, be it people will cross you for a sandwich, for the affections of another person. Even though the affection might not be genuine, they'll still do it because it's instant gratification people are looking for. So all of that adds into reactive abuse for a sensitive person that happens to find themselves in that type of situation, where you'll end up being scapegoated because you're a sensitive person. You really don't want to wreak havoc or cause harm on people because you know what the effect is. That is emotional intelligence. However, the people around you who are inherently toxic, they will see that and use that as their justification to attack you, talk about you, because guess what? They're living their gangster fantasies out on the one strong person in the room. However, they won't say anything to the person to the left because that person they probably had sex with and probably burnt. They won't say nothing to that person on the other side because that person knows that they don't pay their bills and they're kind of dirty. And they won't say nothing to that other person because that person has the power to make their whole reputation crumble. So this is why you'll get a person that ends up in isolation, and you'll wonder, like, oh, well, why they don't deal with that person, or why they don't deal with that? Because that person now has personal knowledge of a whole cell, a whole group of people who pretty much can't function outside of each other because they need each other to uphold each other's reputation, their financial support, and their emotional support. Although all of it is pretty much fragile and fragmented and based on benefits and transactions that may or may not happen because everybody can't really foot that bill, right? So just a quick thing about reactive abuse, just some supporting details about reactive abuse. See, even still, it like curries and it's a butterfly effect because say you have someone around you that's been around you for a while and you might have told them some things personal about yourself. Because that person is not interesting or not creative and basically doesn't have a lot to talk about as far as themselves, they'll find an interesting story about the person that they've been around and they'll use that as a catalyst to connections and things of that nature. It doesn't matter what the information is, they're using that because if they talked about themselves, people would just get up and leave, right? So, you have to think about the importance of words. I remember Eddie Murphy had a movie called 1,000 Words. If you knew the effect of your words, maybe you wouldn't be so quick to run your mouth. Like he only had 1,000 words to use. And it's definitely good for this lesson because you need to know the damage that you can cause. And what's crazy is at some point, the person that causes the bad effect for other people, they end up in their own devices because eventually it turns in on them because somebody's got to be the scapegoat, right? So once the person that has knowledge of the people remove themselves, somebody else has to take the place. So just make sure you're not the weakest link in the room. And remember, weak and mean are a nasty combination because a lot of people that felt weak turned to being mean. And to some, it might seem like it works, but you'll figure it out. Okay, you'll figure it out when you realize that things have been blocked in your life. People no longer want to be around you. Nobody gives you eye contact. No one wants to stay beyond whatever the moment is. And as you get older and you get more lonelier and less interactions and that lipstick doesn't work anymore or that cologne doesn't do it and that spray doesn't make anyone turn your way, it actually gives them a bad memory. You'll understand what your contribution to this world was, and I hope you can live with that. I've repaired myself from countless attacks from insecure sisters, brothers, mothers, cousins. Females definitely have been like, a bane to my existence, really. But men, they know what they do, and you got to hold yourself accountable. Some places, you're not supposed to be. And I've even had someone call me and basically say, oh, people always leave you because, I don't do. But that's basically somebody telling you that they're going to give you the bare minimum, and they're just hoping with that quiet contract that you don't leave them. So that's the pre-guilt trip. There are a lot of people that do pre-guilt trips too. Like, oh, you just too good for me. He's telling you the truth. Oh, I don't know what I would do without you. Yes, they're telling you the truth. Leave. Oh, people, they just start walking away from me after a while, and I just, there's a reason why they walked away from you. You're just telling the pity party part. Yeah, kind of listen to that and reflect on that and see where you fall in that and if you should even care. Like, yeah, even down to where people they get entitled to things that they're not entitled to, but in their mind they convince themselves that they're